Oh, alright, this is vlog number 9, my daily or weekday vlogs where I comment and talk about my cartoons, go a little deeper, or just run off them and branch off into other topics that are on my mind, maybe have a bit of a bitch and a whine and a whinge. That's the most common thing to happen. Today's cartoon is here by my head. Got a couple of panels, so we'll let it sit there for a little bit. And this one I think is more of just like a pet peeve of mine, but I can't stand it when people kind of do something a little silly or what would be considered somewhat odd, but obviously very normal and mundane, a very normal characteristic for most people to show. Usually just people do something a bit silly, a bit stupid, a bit dumb, less intelligence was used than needed to be. And they'll be like, well, I'm just a weird person, I'm just a weird guy, it's just you guys gotta get used to that. I can't fucking stand it. It shits me. For kind of two reasons, and this is gonna branch off into another topic, but first, I don't believe we're all quite as unique as we like to think. Most people are very similar, we all react in very similar ways. Obviously there's little differences here and there, but to act as if you're so outside of the norm is a bit drastic and ridiculous. I know it's a joke, I know it's a joke, maybe it's just a bad joke, and it just gets me, shits me, but it's just maybe a bad joke. I'm not even sure if it's actually a good thing to strive for, to be a unique snowflake, to be totally unique. I don't think anyone does, because we all want to be rather similar, in fact quite similar. It's a bit of a paradox that we want to be liked and are liked to everyone around us, while also retaining this inherent uniqueness so that everyone can pinpoint who we are. Anyway. But it got me onto thinking as well, came up in the podcast I did yesterday with my mate Giles, maybe I'll link it down below. It can be dangerous to act as if inherent flaws in the human psyche and the human being aren't there. I believe, obviously, that we can all be a bit stupid and a bit flippant and a bit scared almost all of the time. Our brains are not constantly being who we are on paper. Like if we were to write down our personality, the way we often act does not actually inherently reflect what we think of ourselves, what we think our personalities are, nor does it reflect our values. And this can be quite evident perhaps when you get drunk and things get a little crazy and then you get flippant. I know I certainly do, and you'll say shit that does not represent your views. Of course you should still be held accountable. However, I think to act as if you mean everything, as if everything, little thing that you do is part of the grand scheme of your personality, of your character, is a bit silly and dangerous, I think. The mind twitches, just as if you're maybe not paying attention to your hand, or do a little funny thing when you're not paying attention. And the same when you're not paying attention to what's coming out of your mouth, you might say some shit that doesn't really belong anywhere and you shouldn't have said it. But the mind just spasmed for a second, in a way. Not admitting we all do bad things and we all fuck up can give those things a lot more power. So when you do fuck up, then you think it's actually a flaw of yours. It's actually something that's wrong with you inherently, while in reality it might just be a sudden lapse in judgment at a particular time. We all do stupid shit. You should own your actions, but I don't think you should take it so seriously. Oh, it's a risk. It's hard. It's a risky area. It's a grey area, and it's rough, thin ice. Because if you then said something totally bigoted or something like that, and then you're like, well, I was just being an idiot. There is room for that, but you also still need to own your actions. That's all I'm going to leave it with. I'm not going to, so maybe not like the most definitive opinion on the subject, but just something that's kind of on my mind. things change, personalities change, you grow, you make mistakes, and you fuck up all the time. And the mind just does weird shit all the time. So maybe don't worry about it as much. At least don't criticize yourself as much. That's all. Alrighty.